Hi, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Camilla and I'm a social media expert. Today we're going to be talking about 5 things that I wish I knew before I started freelancing. Number 1 is that clients don't respect you in the beginning. You have to make them respect you. Usually when you first start out as a freelancer and you haven't been in the game that long, it's very easy for the clients to also spot and feel how insecure you might feel about yourself, your services or your prices, and that also makes them not really respect you. So they think that your job can just be done really fast, really quickly, and maybe they can just throw last minute tasks at you, or that you're not actually deserving of the price that you're taking. So you need to make them respect you. And in order to do that, it's important that you are confident when you're talking to your potential or existing clients, but also make it sure and clear to them that they know that your time should not be for granted, and all of your value and your knowledge is something that they need to also respect. This can be done by, first of all, including it in your contract, that they have to respect your certain boundaries, they have to pay on time, this kind of stuff, and that they can't just add extra work to your scope without actually paying for it, or adding extra value without asking. It's hard, and I know that it can be very terrifying, especially in the beginning, to make them respect you, but just remember, the longer you're in this game, the more you also learn, and then in the end, you don't really care about what they actually think, or obviously you care about what they think, but you don't really care too much because you know that you have the power. And honestly, if a client does not respect you or your work or your value or your knowledge and everything else, then you don't want to work with them anyways. Number 2, something that I learned very early on is that you have to have everything included in your contract. And it's also something that I'm still working on, even though I'm years in the game now. So every time I learn something, every time I have a client that doesn't respect me or my boundaries or my work or etc., I make sure to include it in my contract for the next client. So obviously being a freelancer is always going to be an ongoing learning process. But I'm telling you now, always make sure you have everything covered in your contract. And here I'm talking your scope of work, your boundaries, like when and how they can actually reach you and contact you, what happens if they pay late, and etc. Like all that kind of stuff. Make sure it's in your contract and just protect yourself as much as possible. Number 3 is that it will unfortunately take years before my family actually acknowledges that what I'm doing is legit work. So, as you might also know, a lot of people in maybe our parents or the older generations, they don't really know what the concept of freelancing is, or the fact that you can work money online and still make a decent or even a higher income than you can in most other jobs. So it really takes them years to really understand and tune into what it means that you are working as a freelancer. And even though I've been doing freelance work for almost 5 years now, it's not all my family that understands it. It's easier for them to just say, oh, she's self-employed, which is basically the same, I know. But it's just easier for them to understand, and it's easier for you if you also if you tell them, I work with this specifically, I work with marketing. Most of the time don't say social media, because if it's that generation, they might not understand social media either, like that whole thing that it's actually a job to work with social media, even though it's part of marketing. But yeah, so make it easier on yourself and on them by either sit them down, have a conversation with them exactly about what it is that you do, or just tell them something that will be easier for them to understand. Like for my grandparents, I just say that I work with marketing and that I'm self-employed. And then my parents, they obviously know everything that I'm working with, so they actually understand now. But no matter what, it still took them years. I had to prove to them that I could make more doing what I do, like doing social media management, influencer collaborations, all that kind of stuff. It took me years of this proving to them that I could earn more by doing this than I did in my previous office job where I was working with marketing. So I know it's hard, and I know it's not always so fun, but hang in there, and I promise you, that they might get it along the way. Number 4, This thing that I wish I knew before I started freelancing is that your income has nothing to do with how many hours you work. You can work 2 hours a day and still make more than you can in an office job. And you can also work 30 hours, not 30 hours a day, nice. You can work like 20 hours a day and barely make enough. How much money you make is not related to how many hours you work at all. It is related to how productive you are and how you prioritize your time. And this is honestly something I kind of knew before I got into freelancing and being self-employed, but it's just something that has become even more apparent to me the longer I work with it. If you make sure to prioritize your time and your tasks, right? And then especially in the beginning, you only focus on those things that actually make you money, then you have a higher chance of making even more money faster than if you took the time to do all of those tasks that doesn't actually directly bring you money. Like, it's so easy to just get caught up in sitting around playing with brand colors and logo design, and this kind of stuff is not actually directly related to an income for you. You need to be focusing on what in your business that generates a direct income for you, and then especially in the beginning, put all of your energy, all your focus, and prioritize that. If you have the money, you can outsource the other things like your branding and your logos and everything in that direct, like all of that, you can outsource that to someone else, so it frees up your time to focus on what really matters. So yeah, basically it has no relation to how many hours you work, how much income you can have. Because I have some clients where I do not so much work, but they pay me more because it's something that's a little bit more specialized. And then I have other clients that are paying me less, but it's just like this generalized kind of work that takes longer. So obviously I don't make as much money working on this client, even though it takes me longer, that as much money as I make on this client with work that takes me less, but it pays me more. So your income is not directly related to how many hours you work, and I really, really think that that's important to remember. Prioritize, prioritize, prioritize. The fifth thing that I wish I knew before I started freelancing is that it's very hard, but it is worth every single struggle. So especially if you're new into the self-employed or freelancing world, just know that it's very hard in the beginning. You might not make ends meet every month, but trust me, once you get over that hurdle and you really get it going, it is completely worth it in every single way. I would not trade it for the world. This has given me way more than I ever thought it would. I'm working from home, I'm not working full-time. It makes my mind clear, it makes me have so much more mental energy and physical energy and excess energy to do all the other kind of stuff. I take my hat off for everyone who's working a full-time office job or anything like other full-time job. They have kids, they have to go home and make a house, like all this kind of stuff. Because I barely work full-time. And I work for myself, I work from home, which means I don't have to use time on commute either, and I can barely make it. But I love it. This is how it works the best for me. I could not make my everyday life run in a full circle without, if I was employed in an office job, for example, if I was working full-time for someone else and I had to waste my time on commute. So, because one of the worst things that I know is to waste time. So for me, it's really, really important. For example, I don't really do meetings. I hate commuting. I stay where I am if I can because I don't want to waste time on transportation, all this kind of stuff. Also when I start working with clients, I get straight into it. I don't dance around the hot soup or whatever that saying is. I dive straight into it. I send them my rates in the beginning, so they're not wasting my time if they can't afford my rates. I tell them exactly, okay, I can do this and this and this for you. What do you want? I put it all out there to not waste any time. So even though it's really, really hard, especially in the beginning, just know that it's worth it because it helps you shape and create the life that you want, the life of your dreams, I hope. Otherwise, you shouldn't be doing this. If this is not the life of your dreams, then you probably shouldn't be out freelancing or being self-employed. But anyway, yeah, again, if you're new to this and this is your dream, then hang in there. I know it's hard, but you will get there eventually, and when you do, it is the best feeling in the whole world. You will feel so powerful for something that you have been able to do for yourself, by yourself, most of the time. And there's no greater feeling. So yeah, it's hard, but it's worth it, so hang in there. That was the 5 most important things I probably wish I knew before I started freelancing. I can add a little extra thing. It is that you don't have to invest in fancy equipment at all, and you've probably heard that before. It helps a great deal along the way. For example, with a nice computer or something, because you need to be able to actually run that. But except for that, you don't need any fancy equipment. So yeah, just remember to have fun with it and enjoy it, because otherwise you won't be able to do it in the longer run. That was everything. I really hope you enjoyed today's video. Please remember to like and subscribe, and yeah, you know the drill. I have all my links down below, and give me a comment if there's anything else you would want me to talk about. See you next time. Bye.